Admiral Take stood alone on the big window deck of Earth's best ship, the UES Dauntless. His tired face showed in the glass as he looked at the many stars. For 20 years, humans had lived under the Treaty of Proxima, a paper that had stopped humans from growing in space. "Admiral, the Galactic Council people are here," said Commander June. Her voice was calm, but her body was tense. "Let them wait," Tyke said, still looking at the stars. "For 50 years they have made us wait. A few more minutes won't hurt them." The Treaty of Proxima had seemed good at first. Humans new to space travel had agreed to limits on their weapons, where they could live, and what tech they could use. In return, they got help from the older alien races of the Galactic Council, but that help soon turned into control. Tyke turned around, his dark eyes firm. "Has President Hyun made up her mind?" "Yes, sir." Everyone voted yes. June handed him a small screen. "Earth and all human colonies agree. The treaty ends today." The meeting room was quiet as the alien leaders watched Tyke walk in. 7 kinds of aliens sat at the table, each one older and more advanced than humans. Their main speaker, a tall, thin being named Thrick, stepped up. "Admiral Tyke, we know your leaders are upset about some parts of the treaty. We can talk about small changes too." Tyke put a real paper copy of the Treaty of Proxima on the table. Old paper signed with ink. The Galactic Council had wanted it this way, saying it was their custom. Really, it was to stop humans from adding digital safety measures. "There will be no changes," Tyke said calmly. He reached down and tore the paper in half. The sound was loud in the quiet room. "The Treaty of Proxima is now over. All human worlds agree." Shocked whispers moved through the alien group. Thrix's outer skin turned a sick color. "You cannot do this," Thrix said. "The results, we know what will happen," Tyke cut in. "But what you don't know is that humans have plans of our own." Behind him, screens turned on, showing hidden human military bases, research labs, and colony ships already going to forbidden areas. All had been built in secret, against the treaty's rules. "Not possible," one of the other aliens whispered. "Your kind could not hide this from our watching systems." Commander June smiled a small smile. "Yet here we are." What the Galactic Council didn't know was that humans had been getting ready for this day since they first signed the treaty. They had acted like good newcomers while quietly building their strength in secret. "You have 1 day to take your war ships out of human space," Tyke said. "After that, we will see any foreign military ships as an act of war." As the shocked aliens were led back to their ships, June came up to Tyke. "Do you think they will fight back?" she asked quietly. Tyke watched the alien ships through the window. "They will try, but for the first time they are afraid of us, and they should be." 3 days later, the Galactic Council ships had pulled away from Earth, but trouble was coming. Long-range scanners showed big groups of ships moving from all major Council homeworlds. In a safe room deep under Seoul, President Hyun stood before Earth's military leaders. Everyone looked serious in the blue light of the battle screens. "They are moving everything they have," General Park said, pointing to red dots spreading across the space map. "We think they will reach our outer colonies in 4 days. President Hyun, a woman with gray-streaked hair who had made many hard choices, nodded calmly. "Then we start Operation Looking Glass." Operation Looking Glass had been humanity's backup plan for decades, a big risk based on a simple fact. The Galactic Council races had grown lazy. Thousands of years of better tech had made them proud. They made their weapons better, but never really new. They improved their battle plans, but never changed them completely. Humans, on the other hand, had always been the weaker ones since they first went to space. They had studied every bit of tech they were allowed to see, figured out how to make what they weren't, and dreamed up new ideas for everything else. On the colony world of New Busan, Dr. Mina adjusted the final parts of the quantum jumping network. Her team had worked in secret for 15 years, building tech the Council had said was not possible. "System is working," she reported on the secure line. "All points are connected. Across 27 hidden bases throughout human space, the same systems turned on. When linked, they made something never seen before. A faster-than-light talking network that worked outside the Council's watched channels. On the bridge of the UES Dauntless, Admiral Tayek got the news he had been waiting for. "Send the signal," he ordered. All across human space, military ships that had been hiding in gas giants, asteroid fields, and special blind spots showed themselves. Ships that the Council thought were just for carrying goods suddenly dropped fake hull panels, showing weapons underneath. The human fleet was still smaller than the Council's combined ships, but they had one big advantage. They could talk to each other instantly. While the Council forces were still days away from their targets, working with light-speed delayed messages, the human fleet could respond right away to changing battles. Commander June came to the bridge with a datapad. "Sir, we're getting messages from the Orion and Cygnus colonies. Council scout ships have already entered their systems." Tyke nodded. "They're testing us. Send strike groups 3 and 7 to meet them. They can fight if the Council ships don't. Leave. The Council will see this as making things worse," June warned. "No," Tyke replied, his eyes hard. "They'll see it as what happens when you push too far." In the Orion colony system, 3 Council scout ships met a human defense force 3 times their size. The Council ships, expecting to find a weak colony with old defenses, instead found themselves surrounded by warships using tech they thought was hundreds of years beyond human ability. The Council ships left without firing a shot. Similar scenes played out across the edge of human space. Each time Council forces found themselves outmaneuvered and outgunned by human ships that shouldn't have existed. In the Council's main room on their capital world, the 7 alien races argued bitterly. "How could we have been so wrong?" asked the leader of the Selenari, the oldest Council race. Thrix, still shocked from Tyke's show of power, showed a series of spy reports. "They tricked us at every turn. Their real building power, their tech growth, even how fast their people grew, all hidden behind fake data we never checked. Then we crush them now," the Draken leader hissed, "before they grow stronger." But the mood in the room had changed. For the first time in thousands of years, the Council was facing a race that had not only refused to be controlled, but had actively prepared for a fight, and might be able to win. "Maybe," the Selenari leader said carefully, "we should think about talking to them as equals." The Galactic Council's answer came fast. Within 18 hours, all their talking channels went quiet, and long-range sensors spotted movement from all major Council homeworlds. In a safe room under Sol, President Hyun stood before Earth's military leaders. The room was filled with grim faces lit by the blue glow of battle screens. "They're moving everything," General Park reported, pointing to the red dots spreading across the space map. "We think they'll reach our outer colonies in 4 days." President Hyun, a woman with silver-streaked hair and eyes that had seen many hard choices, nodded calmly. "Then we move ahead with Operation Looking Glass." Operation Looking Glass had been humanity's secret plan for decades. A big risk based on a simple fact. The Galactic Council races had grown lazy. Thousands of years of better tech had made them proud. They made their weapons stronger, but never really new. They made their battle plans better, but never truly different. Humans, on the other hand, had always been the weaker ones since they first went to space. They had studied every piece of tech they were allowed to see, figured out how to make what they weren't, and dreamed up new ideas for everything else. On the colony world of New Busan, Dr. Mina adjusted the final parts of the quantum jumping network. Her team had worked in secret for 15 years, making tech the Council had said was not possible. "System is ready," she reported on the secure line. "All points are working." Across 27 hidden bases throughout human space, the same systems turned on. When linked, they made something never seen before. A faster-than-light talking network that worked outside the Council's watched channels. On the bridge of the UES Dauntless, Admiral Tyke got the news he had been waiting for. "Send the signal," he ordered. All across human space, military ships that had been hiding in gas giants, asteroid fields, and special blind spots showed themselves. Ships that the Council thought were just for carrying goods suddenly dropped. Fake hull panels, showing weapons underneath. The human fleet was still smaller than the Council's combined ships, But they had one big advantage. They could talk to each other instantly. While the Council forces were still days away from their targets, working with light-speed delayed messages, the human fleet could respond right away to changing battles. Commander June came to the bridge with a data pad. "Sir, we're getting messages from the Orion and Cygnus colonies. Council scout ships have already entered their systems." Tyke nodded. "They're testing us. Send strike groups 3 and 7 to meet them. They can fight if the Council ships don't leave. The Council will see this as making things worse," June warned. "No," Tyke replied, his eyes hard. "They'll see it as what happens when you push too far. In the Orion colony system, 3 Council scout ships met a human defense force 3 times their size. The Council ships, expecting to find a weak colony with old defenses, instead found themselves surrounded by warships using tech they thought was hundreds of years beyond human ability. The Council ships left without firing a shot. Similar scenes played out across the edge of human space. Each time, Council forces found themselves outmaneuvered and outgunned by human ships that shouldn't have existed. In the Council's main room on their capital world, the 7 alien races argued loudly. "How could we have been so wrong?" asked the leader of the Selenari, the oldest Council race. Thrix, still shocked from Tyke's show of power, showed a series of spy reports. "They tricked us at every turn. Their real building power, their tech growth, even how fast their people grew. All hidden behind fake data we never checked. Then we crush them now," the Dracon leader hissed. "Before they grow stronger, but..." The mood in the room had changed. For the first time in thousands of years, the Council was facing a race that had not only refused to be controlled, but had actively prepared for a fight, and might be able to win. Admiral Tyke stood in the war room aboard the Dauntless, watching as reports came in from all over human space. So far, their plan was working. The Council forces were slowing down, confused by the unexpected strength of the human response. "Sir," Commander June said, "the Selenari flagship is broadcasting on an open channel. They're asking to talk." Tyke raised an eyebrow. The Selenari were the oldest and most respected of the Council races. If they wanted to talk, something big had changed. "Put them through," he ordered. The screen lit up with the image of High Elder Jin, the Selenari leader. Jin's crystal-like body shimmered with light patterns that humans had learned showed great worry. "Admiral Tyke," Jin said, voice formal but strained. "Recent events have forced us to think again about humanity's place in the galaxy." "I'm listening," Tyke replied. "We suggest an immediate stop to all fighting and open talks for a new treaty, one made as equals." The war room fell silent. This was more than they had hoped for. Tyke studied Jin's image carefully, looking for signs of a trick. "Why the sudden change of heart, High Elder? Your combined fleets still outnumber ours." Jin's body dimmed slightly, a sign of discomfort. "Numbers are not everything, Admiral. Your species has shown unexpected abilities. And, Jin said after a pause, there are matters we need to discuss. Matters that concern the safety of all species in this galaxy." Tyke glanced at June, who nodded slightly. Something wasn't being said. "I will speak with President Hyun," Tyke said finally. "We will contact you within 6 hours with our answer." When the call ended, the war room burst into talk. "They're afraid," General Park said with a smile. "They never expected us to be this ready." "No," June said thoughtfully. "It's more than that. Did you see Jin's light patterns? That wasn't just worry about us, something else is scaring them." Tyke nodded. "Get me a secure line to President Yun, and I want all long-range scans focused on the galactic rim, away from Council space. Let's see if we can find what they're not telling us." In her office beneath Seoul, President Hyun listened as Admiral Tyke reported the Selenari offer. "Do you think it's real?" she asked. "Or a trick to make us drop our guard?" "I think it's real," Tyke replied. "But I also think they're hiding something. I've ordered scans of the rim systems." Dr. Mina, who had been called to the meeting, spoke up. "Actually, we've been picking up strange energy readings from the rim for months. We thought they were just background noise, but..." "But what?" President Hyun asked. but they don't match any known pattern, council or otherwise, and they're growing stronger. The room fell silent as they considered the implications. If there was a threat from beyond known space, one that worried even the ancient council races. Keep the fleet at high alert, President Hyun decided. But agree to talks with the Selenari. I want to know what they're hiding. 3 days later, the human and council delegations met on neutral ground, a space station orbiting a dead star halfway between Earth and the Selenari homeworld. Unlike the last meeting, this time the aliens seemed less sure of themselves. We propose a complete replacement of the Treaty of Proxima, Thrix began, no longer showing the arrogance of before. A new agreement based on mutual respect and shared defense. Shared defense against what? Tyke asked directly. The council members looked at each other. Finally, Jin stepped forward. There is something you should see, the Selenari leader said, activating a hologram in the center of the room. The image showed a distant star system on the edge of the galaxy. As they watched, a swarm of strange ships entered the system. They were unlike any design humans had seen, black, shapeless things that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. This recording is from one of our outposts, 3 months ago, Jin explained. We lost contact shortly after. The hologram showed the alien ship surrounding a small council research station. There was a flash of strange energy, and then nothing. The station and everything in it was simply gone. We call them the Void Collective, Jin said quietly, and they are coming for all of us. The meeting room was silent after Jin's words. Everyone stared at the empty space where the hologram had shown the council station disappearing. How long have you known about this Void Collective? President Hyun asked, breaking the silence. Jin's crystal body flickered with light patterns showing deep unease. We first encountered them over 1,000 years ago. Admiral Tyke's eyes widened. 1,000 years? And you kept this secret from us? We keep it secret from all new species, Thrix explained, until they are ready. Ready for what? Commander June asked. For war, Jin said simply. A war the Council has been fighting in secret for over a millennium. The human leaders exchanged shocked looks as Jin continued to explain. The Void Collective was a group of machine minds that took over organic life. They had been slowly moving from the edge of the galaxy, taking over worlds one by one. The treaty limits weren't random, Jin explained. They were meant to guide human growth along certain tech paths, ones we knew would work against the collective. And you didn't think to just tell us this? President Hyun asked, clearly angry. Every species we've told right away has either fallen into panic or refused to believe us until it was too late, Jin replied. We needed humanity to grow strong enough to help us fight, without knowing the real threat until you were ready, Admiral. Tyke laughed without humor. And now you realize we've been growing in ways you never expected. Yes, Jin admitted. Your quantum jumping network alone uses tech we gave up thousands of years ago, combined with your unusual battle plans and hidden building sites. You've become something new. And valuable, President Hyun added knowingly. Indeed. Jin's form brightened. The collective has started moving faster. We need humanity's new ideas now more than ever. Not as lesser beings, but as equals. Perhaps even as leaders in this fight. In a private room next to the meeting chamber, Earth's leaders talked about this new information. Could be a trick, General Park suggested. A way to bring us back under control. Dr. Mina shook her head. The data they've shared about this collective matches strange readings we've been seeing for years. I think they're telling the truth. Admiral, take turn to President Hyun. Whether it's true or not, we're talking from a position of strength now. We set the terms. President Hyun nodded slowly. Then let's make them count. Not just for humanity, but for the galaxy we apparently need to save. 2 weeks later, the new Galactic Defense Agreement was signed. Unlike the old treaty, this one made humans equal partners with all council races. It included free sharing of tech, joint military planning, and most importantly, a clear goal: stopping the Void Collective before they reached populated space. On the bridge of the UES Dauntless, now made bigger and better with shared alien tech, Admiral Tak watched as a mixed fleet of human and council ships trained together. "It's strange," Commander June said, standing beside him. 2 months ago we were ready to go to war with them. Now we're fighting side by side." "The best allies are often former enemies," Tak replied. "They know each other's strengths and weaknesses." The main screen lit up with an incoming call from Dr. Mina. Her face looked excited. "Admiral, I think we found something important," she said. "Can you come to Lab 3? In Lab 3, Dr. Mina stood with a team of human and alien scientists. Around them, strange equipment hummed and glowed. "We've been studying the collective's energy patterns," she explained as Tyke entered. "The council races have been fighting them for a millennium, but they've been using the same basic approach all this time." "And that approach is?" Tyke asked. A Selenari scientist spoke up. "Containment. We find their advanced forces and destroy them before they can report back. It has kept them at bay but never truly stopped them." "Because you're fighting a defensive war," Tyke said, understanding. "You've been reacting to their moves, not making your own." "Exactly," Dr. Mina said with a smile. "But what if we could take the fight to them? What if we could hit their main force before they even reach council space?" She pointed to a complex display showing waves of energy. "The collective ships use a unique form of communication, one that our quantum network can detect. We've been mapping their signals and we think we've found their main fleet gathering point." Tyke studied the display. "You're suggesting a preemptive strike?" "More than that," Dr. Mina said. "We think we can use our quantum jumping tech to hit multiple collective bases at once. They won't be expecting an attack on their home territory." The Selenari scientists' light patterns showed surprise. "Such an approach has risks. If we fail, we could bring their full force down on us sooner." "Sometimes the greatest risk is taking no risk at all," Tyke replied. "I'll bring this to President Hyun and the council leaders right away." On Earth, the new Galactic Defense Headquarters had been built in Seoul. Leaders from all species gathered to hear Dr. Mina's plan. "We're calling it Operation Phoenix," she explained, showing maps of the galaxy with red marks where collective forces had been found. "A 3-phase attack that will hit their staging areas simultaneously." "How can we be sure our ships will arrive at the exact same time?" asked a Dracon war leader. "Even small delays could lead to our forces being destroyed one by one." "That's where humanity's quantum network comes in," Dr. Mina explained. "We can sync the jumps down to the microsecond." President Hyun turned to the council leaders. "This plan goes against your usual way of fighting. I understand if you have doubts." High Elder Jin was quiet for a long moment. "For 1,000 years we've held back the darkness, but we've never truly pushed it back. Perhaps it's time for a new approach," the Draken leader hissed softly. "My race has lost 15 colony worlds to the collective over the centuries. I say we take the fight to them for once." One by one, the other leaders agreed. Operation Phoenix was approved. Over. The next month, the combined fleet prepared. Ships were upgraded with a mix of council weapons and human jumping tech. Crews trained together, learning to work as one force despite their differences. Dr. Mina worked day and night on a special project, something she called the Phoenix Core. When Admiral Tyke asked about it, she would only say it was insurance. On the night before the fleet was to depart, Tyke found President Hyun standing alone on a balcony of the defense headquarters, looking up at the stars. "Worried?" he asked, joining her. "Aren't you?" she replied. "Tomorrow we launch the biggest military action in human history, against an enemy we barely understand, alongside allies who were our enemies just months ago." Tyke nodded. "When I tore up that treaty, I never imagined it would lead to this." "Do you regret it?" he thought for a moment. "No. The old treaty kept us safe, but it also kept us small. This," he gestured at the bustling headquarters around them, where humans and aliens worked side by side. "This makes us more than we were." President Hyun smiled slightly. "Then let's hope we live long enough to enjoy it." Above them, the stars seemed to shine brighter, as if aware of the great fleet gathering in orbit preparing to defend them all from the darkness at the edge of the galaxy. The day of Operation Phoenix arrived. The largest fleet ever gathered in the galaxy's history waited at jump points throughout Council space. Ships from every species stood ready, now fitted with human quantum jump tech and armed with the best weapons from all races. On the bridge of the UES Dauntless, now the command ship for the entire operation, Admiral Tyek looked around at the mixed crew. Humans worked side by side with aliens who just months before had been their controllers. Now they were all fighters in the same war. All fleet groups report ready, Commander June announced. Quantum jump network is synced. Tyke nodded and opened a channel to the whole fleet. This is Admiral Tyke. Today we take a stand not just for humanity or for the Council races, but for all life in our galaxy. The Void Collective has spent 1,000 years advancing unchecked. That ends today. He paused, looking at the faces around him, human and alien alike. Some of you may not come back, but those who do will have helped write a new chapter in galactic history. One where we fought back against the darkness and won. Tyke turned to June. Start the countdown. Throughout the fleet, jump engines powered up in perfect sync, guided by humanity's quantum network. As the countdown reached 0, hundreds of ships vanished from Council space. At the edge of the galaxy, far from any inhabited worlds, the main force of the Void Collective gathered. Their black ships, shaped like twisted shadows, moved in perfect formation as they prepared for their next push into the galaxy. For a millennium, they had advanced slowly, carefully. The old races of the Council had fought well, but always defensively, giving ground little by little. The Collective had learned to expect this pattern. They did not expect hundreds of warships to suddenly appear in their midst, weapons already firing. The surprise was complete. Council energy weapons tore through Collective ships while human-designed missiles hit their communication nodes. The carefully planned attack targeted the Collective's weak points, identified through centuries of Council battles and refined by human tactical analysis. On the bridge of the Dauntless, Admiral Tyke watched the battle unfold. All fleet groups report success, June reported. The Collective is in disarray. A Selenari officer's light patterns showed amazement. They're not adapting as quickly as they usually do. The multi-point attack has confused their shared mind, Tyke nodded. That was the plan. Keep pushing while they're off balance. The battle raged for hours. The combined fleet struck hard and fast, never staying in one place long enough for the Collective to organize a response. Human ships, more maneuverable than their Council counterparts, served as rapid strike forces, hitting targets of opportunity and pulling back before the Collective could respond. But the Collective was not defeated easily. As the battle progressed, they began to adapt, their ships starting to coordinate more effectively. Sir, June warned, the Collective ships are forming a new pattern. They're trying to cut off our jump points. Tyke studied the tactical display. They're learning our methods. It's time for Phase 2. He opened a channel to Dr. Mina, who was aboard a specialized ship at the edge of the battle. Doctor, are you ready? The Phoenix Core is charged and ready, she replied. But we need to get closer to their command node. Tyke nodded. All ships, execute maneuver Gamma 6. Clear a path to the center of their formation. The fleet shifted, focusing fire on a narrow corridor through the Collective forces. The Dauntless led the way, its enhanced shields absorbing hits that would have destroyed it before the Council upgrades. As they pushed deeper into the Collective formation, Tyke could see their main command node, a massive black structure that seemed to eat light around it. We're in position, he told Dr. Mina. You have your window. Dr. Mina's ship moved forward, protected on all sides by the combined fleet. Activating Phoenix Core in 3, 2, 1. A wave of invisible energy pulsed outward from her ship. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, one by one, the Collective ships began to drift aimlessly, their coordinated movements falling apart. It worked. Dr. Mina's voice came through, filled with relief and excitement. The quantum disruption field is breaking their shared consciousness. They can't communicate with each other anymore. Around them, the Collective ships, once moving with perfect unity, now drifted in confusion. Some continued to fight, but without coordination. They were easy targets for the combined fleet. All ships, Tyke ordered. Target any collective vessel still showing signs of activity, but try to capture intact examples if possible. We need to study them. The battle turned into a cleanup operation. One by one, the remaining collective ships were disabled or destroyed. For the first time in a millennium, the Void Collective had been dealt a decisive defeat. 3 months later, Admiral Tyke stood with President Hyun in the new Galactic Council, chamber on Earth. Unlike the old council, which had been dominated by the 7 oldest species, this new body included representatives from all spacefaring races, including humanity. The captured collective ships have given us valuable insights, High Elder Jin was saying. We believe Dr. Mina's quantum disruption technology has permanently broken their network in this sector of the galaxy. And the rest of their forces? Asked President Hyun. Still out there, a Draken leader replied. But without their main command node, they've been set back centuries. We have time now to prepare for when they regroup. Tyke looked around the chamber. What had once been a place where humans were treated as children was now a forum of equals. Humans were no longer the newcomers to be controlled, but valued partners with unique perspectives. After the meeting, Tyke found Commander June waiting outside. The new fleet deployments are ready for your approval, she said, handing him a data pad. Joint Human Council patrols along the rim just as you suggested. Tyke nodded, looking at the plans. Each patrol group would have ships from at least 3 different species, ensuring that multiple perspectives and technologies would be available to face any threat. Do you think the collective will come back? June asked as they walked. Eventually, Tyke replied. But when they do, they'll find a galaxy united against them. Not because one group controls the others, but because we all choose to stand together. 1 year after the Battle of the Rim, as it had come to be known, a monument was unveiled in Seoul. It showed a human hand tearing a document, with the torn pieces forming a bridge between stars. Admiral Take, now Supreme Commander of the Galactic Defense Force, stood beside President Hyun as the monument was revealed. When you tore that treaty, President Hyun said quietly, did you ever imagine it would lead to this? Tyke looked around at the gathered crowd, humans and aliens standing together as friends and allies, united by their shared victory. No, he admitted. But I knew it would lead to something better than being controlled. The night sky above, Seoul was clear, the stars bright and welcoming. They no longer represented distant places ruled by ancient powers. They were now part of a united galaxy where humanity had found its true place, not through following rules made by others, but by having the courage to tear up a treaty and demand to be taken seriously. As he looked up at those stars, Tyke felt a sense of pride. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and not only survived but thrived. They had shown the galaxy that sometimes the newest voice in the room might have the most important things to say, and the galaxy had finally learned to listen.